we going to take down our Aaron Carter video?
I don't know if have you seen this video about this guy? He turned his eyeball into a flashlight.
Huh?
I saw it on Reddit this week. The
Turned
dude
his eyeball into a flashlight.
The dude I guess he had lost his eye to cancer, so he had an empty socket.
Just one eye?
Yeah, just one eye.
Not both.
No.
The cancer got the one eye.
I don't know what kind of cancer
it.
attacks a single eye. I've actually never heard of eyeball cancer.
Oh, man. I mean, random, but I want to say rest in peace to Anthony Rumble Johnson, ex-UFC fighter, tons of knockouts.
Had eyeball cancer?
No, just recently passed away with some kind of lymphatic cancer.
Okay. Well, if it's not eyeball cancer.
I just want to shout him out. But anyways, we'll get back to your eyeball flashlight cancer guy, okay?
So the dude built a bionic eye. He shoved it into the socket, and it's a flashlight. Look at this video.
He invented it.
He looks like he made it himself. At least that's what the caption says. But he says that the flashlight can last 20 hours. It has a 20-hour battery life. So
is he going to be up all night?
I don't know.
Why does it need to be on that long?
I actually don't know. Maybe he says you can read in the dark, but I don't think you need a bionic eyeball to read in the dark.
This guy is probably just trying to think of different ways to modify this thing. Like, I'm getting the X-Men laser eye next, man. Like, Cyclops.
Well, the fucked up thing is, in the video, he says it's only at 50% power, and that safety is a big concern for him, and he wants to up the power. So he's definitely coming up with some X-Men shit.
Pretty soon it's going to be like an extra hand coming out of there.
Imagine you break into someone's house, and then you see them standing in the doorway, and then all of a sudden one of their eyeballs turns on.
Oh my god.
Or imagine being this guy's neighbors when he's like fucking his wife, and all of a sudden you just see the flashlight flashing on the window screen.
You probably
the whole
think
time.
somebody's partying or something.
You just see a silhouette of his naked wife.
I'm just thinking this guy's like a raver, man. He goes to all those crazy EDM concerts, and he's like,
he's sitting there just blinking his eye to the beat. Yeah. Meanwhile, Justin's in the corner moving his fingers. Dude, I just can't imagine. I mean, you're this guy's wife, and you start having sex, and his eyeball comes on, and it fucking blinds you. His wife's just a deer in the headlights getting railed.
Am I being interrogated? What's going on right now? God damn. Is this the police?
Oh my god.
Oh, that's terrible,
that's
man.
So good.
We're making fun of a guy with cancer, by the way, but
it seems like he overcame his cancer.
True. This is a positive story.
He had it cut out of his skull.
This is overcoming your obstacles in life.
Yeah. Now, this is a heartwarming story. This is not a tale of...
And the crazy part is he might have a business on his hands here. For all the other people that have one eye missing, now you got an extra flashlight.
Is the flashlight the most productive thing you could do with that space, though?
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Like,
could you put something better in your skull socket?
I don't know, man.
Maybe a camera?
Yeah.
Or maybe the flashlight is the precursor to the camera. It's like a camera flash.
Yeah, that's for sure a camera. Man,
camera's the only thing I can think safely. Like, obviously you want to install a flamethrower if you can, but you're going to burn off your eyelids.
I don't know, man. I think Neo's going to have to save us here from the Matrix, dude, because we're turning into cyborgs right now, dude. It's like we're half man, half robot now.
Imagine if this guy had lost an arm, so he's got a flashlight eye, and he's got one of those like new robot arms.
That's what I'm saying. At this point, he's like, well, I've already lost an eye, and I think my new flashlight eye is better. So I might as well just cut off like this fucking leg here, and then I'm gonna put a bionic leg on there, and then a cannon on my hand.
You know what though? Flashlight eye is kind of better than having two eyes. What do you need two eyes for? I have one that sees fine. Take one out, install a flashlight.
His depth perception, though. You do need two eyes.
He's in the dark. His flashlight comes on. Everything is the exact same distance away, it seems.
I don't know how that works. I mean,
I honestly don't understand the depth perception argument.
I guess, I mean, it's not like I haven't, I feel like I still function with just one eye, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you were on the other side of the room and I closed one eye, I could still throw a ball to you, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think so. It's just you have to get used to it.
So
I still have another eye there.
Yeah,
so
I guess I am losing some field of vision, but you know what I can do about that? I can turn my head.
Yeah.
I can see whatever's going on over there just fine. But I can't see what's going on over there if it's dark out.
You know what you could put in there? A flashlight.
A flashlight? You just want to skull fuck this guy? I don't think that's what he's going for, one. And two, I think an eye socket might be smaller than you realize.
It'll fit.
I'm sure it would. Oh my God.
Terrible.
Dude, have you been watching? Do you have Twitter? You don't have Twitter, do you?
I created one back in when Bitcoin was at $5,000. Okay. And then I tried keeping up with it because I was like trying to keep on the crypto scene and like every bit of news. And then once Bitcoin was at 20 and started falling down, I never looked at Twitter again.
I hate crypto. I hate Twitter.
So it's been a few years since I've been on there.
A couple weeks ago, Elon fully took over.
I did hear about that. I heard he's been causing a ruckus.
And if you don't have Twitter,
people.
You don't know, like, there is a check mark system that Twitter has. And it's like for verified accounts. So if you're, I don't know, who's the guy that died of cancer? If you're a famous person.
Anthony Rumble Johnson.
If you're Anthony Rumble Johnson, he probably had a check mark on his Twitter.
Right.
Because, like, that's actually him.
Right.
So when he tweets something, you want to know that it's coming from this specific source.
Yeah.
Well, Elon came out with this idea, which, by the way, only lasted a week. He's already nixed it. And you could pay $8 a month on any account, and you could have a check mark. Anybody could get a check mark for $8.
Was he just trying to make money on this? That's why he's like, what's some way we can make money? Well, pay us for the check marks, man.
Yeah, he says Twitter costs him millions of dollars every day.
Right. And he's firing everybody.
Yeah. So he's trying to figure out a way to make money. And he's like, $8, anyone can have a check mark, no problem. Immediately, people start changing their name to Elon Musk and buying the check mark. And saying things like how their Teslas are being designed to kill children and shit like that.
The new Tesla Terminator.
So he starts banning people's accounts for that. Like people who have had Twitter for a while, just deleting their accounts. And he says something like, if you don't clearly specify that you have parody, that this is a parody account, you're going to get banned. Sure. So people just wrote parody in their bio, and they were just continuing that same shit.
They just had to put parody in there.
Actually, a pharmaceutical company named Lilly, they make insulin, and someone created a parody account for Lilly, got the blue check mark, and said, we are excited to announce insulin is now free. and Lilly's actual stock price fell from $3.69 to $3.45 in like an hour. Wow. It dropped 6% or whatever that adds up to be.
All these investors are like, what am I investing in this for? Giving their product away?
You're just giving them away for free?
I'm supposed to make money on this.
And it's actually a few companies, like Lockheed Martin fell 5% because someone created a Lockheed Martin account and they said something to the effect of starting immediately, we're no longer selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, Israel, the U.S. because of their war crimes and human rights violations.
That's awesome.
And yeah, their stock fell 5% too.
It's fucking anonymous is winning.
But here's the thing: if you don't like, you could have created the Twitter account yesterday, changed your name to Lockheed Martin, got the blue check mark, and then tank their stock price. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. Who cares if the account's going to get banned? You played an $8 prank that cost a company billions of dollars.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
What other companies could you parody? Like, you were talking about Fleshlight. Like, what if you made a Fleshlight Twitter account, got the blue check mark, and said, under new Christian management, we will stop selling fleshlights, and we're now exclusively selling flashlights.
Well, I don't think Fleshlight's a publicly traded company. So I think they'll be all right. It'll be a good joke, but
their next tweet is we've hired the eyeball guy as our chief product designer.
We liked his innovation. He's a he's a bright thinker.
You're proud of yourself on that one.
Zing.
Wouldn't it be great if every time he had a good idea, his eyeball turned on? Oh, man.
That's great, man. That's awesome.
Actually, why doesn't Fleshlight install a flashlight in their product?
That would be handy, wouldn't it? You want to be in the dark. Sometimes you're in the dark. You got to see where you're going.
You're totally in the dark. You're heading towards your dick. It looks like it's being abducted by aliens. There's a tractor beam over it.
Or you're the lady and you're trying to find it. You're like, she's trying to use one for you. And she's like, where do you go?
Wow. I never even thought that a woman could use it on you. That's an option? I thought that was something I hid in a drawer behind everything and never talked about with my wife.
Well, yeah.
I thought that was something that only came out when she was out of the house.
I thought that was something I put between the couch cushions and hump. Wait, what?
That sounded oddly specific, Dalton. Is that why there's a perfectly colored circle in your couch?
Is this the Fleshlight podcast? We can move it. Hey, Fleshlight, if you want to sponsor us, by the way.
Oh my god, dude! Do you remember?
I keep asking you guys. Come on.
Do you remember when Joe Rogan was sponsored by Fleshlight in his early podcast days?
I know, and we're in our early days.
Here's what's fucked up about that is Joe Rogan would have someone on the podcast and it was like integrated ads, right? So like in the middle of his podcast, he'd be like, sponsored by Fleshlight.
Yeah.
Except his intro to it was always like, hey man, have you ever tried one of these things? Have you ever fucked this thing?
I'll hold it for you. Fuck it. Try it out.
Imagine if every guest that we had on the podcast were just like, hey, have you ever stuck your dick in this?
Trust me, try this.
You're going to want to fuck this.
Spit in it first, though.
Oh, my God.
Terrible.
That's a tough one to try to like do an integrated ad with.
It'd be tough to get more sponsors after that one. I don't know how he did that,
well,
man.
Even if you're just like, you don't have a guest on, like in the middle of our podcast, I just reach out, do some product placement, pull it out and be like, Dalton, this has really changed my life. Like,
has your lady not been giving you anal? Check out the new anal flashlight. Looks like a little butthole.
They have some that are like just supposed to be a mouth too, so you unscrew the cap and it's just lips, and it's like, I don't know if that's what I like about that.
Weird.
It's weird too because some of them are molded to the very specific look of specific porn star. Have you seen that?
I have. You're the special edition Pamela Anderson. I don't know if Pamela's got one, but whatever.
But explain that to me. It's like you're so into a single porn star that you're like, I want to experience that. And they show you cross sections of these things.
Are you trying to diss somebody's fantasies right now, Cody?
Here's what I'm getting at.
You don't watch a porno and you don't think, I really wonder what that feels like, but I'll never get a chance to. There it is.
But it's not true, because it's only what it kind of looks like. Because then they show you when they're trying to sell you this thing, and I've been on the website many times. They show you a cross section of it, and it's got like all these knobs and spirals and shit. That is not what it feels like. You know what I mean? I don't think
it's what that looks like in the real thing.
No, definitely not. But I don't know how you mold you have to like put a bunch of plaster of Paris up there. Yeah, I don't know how you'd get the interior.
It's the real deal. 100% authentic.
Have you ever seen the clone of Willy's?
I have. I don't know why, but I was introduced to that from the Osborne TV show. The one boy bought one for some reason. I forgot. Jack Osborne. For some reason, I've never.
Who are the Osbornes?
Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh.
And his.
Of course. That's
for some reason, he bought a dildo kit or something like that and did it on the show and then threw the dildo at his sister or something. I don't know, something like that.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. But I was like, you can do that. That was my introduction to like, wait, I can just make a mold of my own dick.
He cloned his dick and threw it at his sister. He threw his dick at his sister.
Okay, don't quote me. I don't know what the funny part of the show was. It's been so many years since I watched the Osbournes, but I just remember, like, you know, I don't know. They did something with it.
Yeah, it was real funny. He came up behind her and shoved it in her mouth.
That's what I would have done. I don't know.
To your sister? That's the weird part.
It's the Osbournes, okay? Jeez, don't.
I had never seen.
The dude bit a head off a bat.
Is that a true story, or is that like an urban legend?
That's a true story.
Why did he do that?
I thought the story was he did it in front of like record executives. I could be shitting you.
Record execs?
I could be.
They're like, here's your contract. We're gonna give you $2 million for this album.
Bit the head off a bat.
And what, he reached into his pocket?
Let's look that. That's a good question, because I it's like folklore, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess the hardest part for me is it doesn't sound like a crime of passion. You know what I mean? It wasn't spontaneous. It's not like he caught a bat midair, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. Like, was it oh my God, it was in Des Moines, Iowa. How about that?
It all checks out now. It actually makes a lot of sense.
Oh, Ozzy said, I thought it was a rubber bat.
What? How did it end up in his hand?
It must have been at a concert.
Was it already dead then?
40 years ago.
40 years ago, okay.
Wow.
I thought it was a rubber bat. Didn't you feel it squirming in your hand?
That's crazy.
I have to imagine it was maybe someone threw it up at him.
Well, so we live in Iowa. That was right along the Mississippi River, so there's bats all over, man. So But
have you ever tried to catch one or hit one with a baseball bat as they're flying by you?
What if you're at a concert, you have these big lights and shit, and one fucking hits the light or something? I don't know. It probably got stunned. A stunned bat.
Ozzy sees the bat fly past him, hit the light, gets stunned. He grabs it. It's squirming in his hand. He bites the head off it. There's blood everywhere.
Maybe Ozzy was a little intoxicated.
I thought it was rubber.
Who threw the rubber pad up here? There's blood all over him.
Someone listening right now is like, I always thought they were talking about a baseball bat when they told that story. Can you get rabies by biting something else? I know you can get rabies if something bites you.
I thought he had something after that, like he had to get a bunch of shots or something. But I don't, you know.
Well, rabies treatment is like a shot in the stomach every day for 20 days or something.
Oh my God.
And here's what's fucked up. You can, if you have the animal dead, you can send it in to get tested for rabies. And the only way they can find out if it has rabies is if they cut its skull open and look at the brain.
Wow.
And that takes so much time that you would already be like dead from rabies. Or the rabies symptoms would be at such a point where you can't turn back.
It's a race against the clock.
So you have to start getting the shots before you even know if the thing has rabies.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That's quite the story. I hope not to get bitten by anything in my life.
Dude, I take my dog for a walk around this lake behind this apartment, and I swear I seen a rabid raccoon one day. It was like fucked up. It was out in the middle of the day, and it was like walking real slow and like looking at us, and
shit.
I was like, I don't need to get my dog near that.
Zombie coon.
Dude, there's all these geese coming this way right now. And I was walking the dog the other day, and there was this goose, same spot where I saw the rabid raccoon, like that little spot's cursed. This thing had some type of growth or tumor on its neck, and its head was stuck under it, and it was like facing up. It was fucked up looking.
I appreciate you're trying to hand me these stories right now, but I got nothing on that one, bud. I'm gonna change the tumor story here. Well, I got a growth story for you. It's pretty well, not really growth. Extra. Check this out. Hear this.
Okay.
So I yesterday, the day before, I go to get my teeth straightened. It was just an exam actually, which it was kind of cool because back in the day, I had braces, and then I lost my retainer. My teeth are a little crooked again. So
You've also broke your front teeth like out of your head.
yeah, I broke my front tooth in half. Out of my head, thanks.
You know where teeth are.
It came out my ass.
When you lost that tooth, you should have put a little flashlight in there instead.
Ever since I lost it, I've been trying to think, what can I replace it with? Now I have a metal prong in there. No, actually, yeah, speaking of that, anyways, so they don't, what's kind of crazy though is back in the day when I had my braces, they give you this goo and you have to bite down on one on top and then do the bottom one later. Did you ever do anything like that back in the day that like gets you the mold of your teeth?
Surely I've done that.
Probably, maybe. Anyways, they didn't have one of those. They had a machine that apparently took 6,000 pictures a second.
That I have done that.
You done this thing?
I've
Yeah.
done that.
And she's just scanning my teeth, and she's like, "Oh, you have a da 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 da. That's wild. That's very rare."
Tooth cancer.
Yeah. I believe I pulled it up right here because I believe this is what it is. Cusp of Corbelli.
Cusp of Corbelli.
So, like the last molar and then the molar in front of it, I have like a spike coming out of the side of the tooth inside of my mouth on both sides, little spikes. And I've always felt it with my tongue, like on both sides. And she's like, yeah, it's like a super rare thing to have. How crazy is that? And she said they think it's for tearing apart meat and things like that, which I'm wondering why I have like big fangs and stuff too.
Is this like a holdover from Neanderthal days or something?
I don't know, man. I mean, I did look it up like right before the podcast.
Are you underdeveloped? You're like less developed than the modern man. You still have fangs.
What, ever since I found out, I've been eating nothing but meat. I'm going back to carnivore. Liver
You're
King,
biting the head off
Liver
bats.
King. Dude, I'm an ancestor, dude. Here we go.
Yeah, I bet Liver King doesn't even have that.
Dude,
fucking poser, piece of shit poser.
It turns out it was most common among Europeans. It would be in Europe. It was more 75 to 80%, and also in Pacific Islands. I don't know what that's about.
Well, you're definitely
Very European.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
For sure. But I don't know, man. Kind of a
Super
random.
European.
She was super psyched on it. She's
You're like
"That's-
the type of European that starts world wars. You were very European.
I got some Swedish in me or something, man. I don't know.
Swedish, yeah. I think it's mostly
You don't
German.
think it was- Probably. I need to do one of those 23andMe things or something.
I've done one.
Did you?
Yeah.
I need to. I've been
I'm
needing to.
actually I am Jewish, it turns out. I am 0.08, I think, percent Ashkenazi Jew.
0.08.
0.08, which I think I can take birthright or something like that. I get to go to
Holy
Israel
shit.
for free.
You could marry a Jew?
0.08%. I might as well be full-blooded.
I gotta check this shit out, man. What if I'm a little Jewish?
I wonder
I
which
don't know.
part of me is the Jewish part. It's like, it's my dick.
Then who knows?
I've been circumcised, so it might actually be my dick. Maybe
geez.
that's where the 0.8 comes from. Everyone starts off not Jewish. And if you start off not Jewish and you get circumcised, 0.08.
Oh man, I don't know, dude.
I have a story to tell you since you shared a little story about your week.
All right.
Me and Dalton put together a PSA order. PSA is the grading company. We've talked about them a whole bunch. They grade our Pokemon cards. And they were running a special last month, $15 a card. So I had convinced you to let me send off some of your cards.
Which I've been meaning to for like 2 years now. Like I've been talking about sending all my old cards in. Finally did it.
But this was like, you have to do it because it's only going to be $15 this one time. You need to bring your cards over. Let's get them shipped. So we spent, I don't know, a couple hours picking cards out from you while I was entering my cards. And we had this giant box of trading cards that we had to send to PSA. And when we were looking up, I always try to insure the box for the maximum value. So if they lose it, I can get maximum value back. And it was close to $20,000, which is how much the cards would be worth if they all came back 10s and I got maximum price for it. They're not actually going to be worth $20K.
Right.
Well, USPS, who I normally ship through, only insures packages up to $5K.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to go UPS. And do you remember how much shipping was? Shipping was maybe $200 or something.
200, yeah.
$300. I actually had to lower it to $15K because it was so expensive to ship.
Mm-hmm.
You paid me. I took the box to UPS. The guy at UPS was a fucking asshole. And he said, I'm not taking that package.
What?
He said, we can't take that because it was insured. He said, is that a high value package? And I said, yeah. And he said, I can't take that. You need to go to one of our shipping centers.
The fuck?
But he was a fucking asshole.
I can't take that.
I've actually had a run-in with this guy before, and
Random, I'm going to bring that up too. The one post office I go to that's closest to me, but I don't like going to it, has a bitch of a clerk. And she has bitched at me for the dumbest things before. And the other day I was there, and I caught her bitching at some other lady. And this lady tells her off and all this stuff and walks out. And I walked out with her, and I was like, hey. And she was like all pissed off and talking to her boyfriend, like, this fucking lady. She was like bitching me. And I was like, hey, just letting you know, like, I literally had to tell that lady off the same thing. Like, I don't know what your problem is. Like, it was one time I was trying to grab a couple of envelopes, which they're free, by the way.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, those aren't free. Yeah. And I was like, what? It's like, I mean, it was just like, it was 2 or 3 things, man. Like, I don't even want to bring it up. But anyways,
So this guy is being a dick to me, and I had to go to that UPS anyway because I had a package there waiting for me. And I said, okay, no problem. But I also need to pick up a package here. And he said, okay. And then it was silent for a minute, and I was like, is there something you need from me? Like maybe a tracking number or my name? And he's like, I need your ID.
Oh my God.
So, and he said that with such aggression that I stared at him. And like at that point, my face went blank, and I was just like, okay. Like, obviously we're going to be dicks to each other.
Yeah.
I hand him my ID, and he's looking at it, and he scoffs. And he's like, I don't think I got a package for you today.
Oh my God.
And I said, you definitely did. Why don't you go check?
Oh my God.
And he goes, and he's looking for a package, and he's like, I don't remember taking one. And then he finds the package. He comes back. His tune had totally changed. And he tried to be super nice to me because he realized like he fucked up.
What an ass.
Anyways, whatever. I go to the UPS shipping center, which is in like a warehouse district. Okay. I don't even think like I'm supposed to be going into this like warehouse. There's one lady working the counter, bitch. And she takes my package, whatever. I leave. And then a day or two later, I'm prepping an order to send off to PCGS, which is a coin grading company. I'm about to send some coins, and I'm like, okay, I wonder what the best way to ship to them is. And I'm looking at their shipping options, and I read, we do not accept packages from UPS. And I'm like, oh, fuck. This is the exact same, it's owned by the same company as the card grading. And my heart sinks. And I go to the card grading website.
It says
we do not accept packages from UPS. And I'm like, leaving for Boston like in a day or two at this point.
Yeah.
So I call up UPS. The order had gotten to Anaheim, California. It had already gotten to its destination, and it started failing. And I called UPS. I've got 2 days before I leave to Boston. The lady says, it's a whole fucking ordeal because this is a high value package. I can't change the shipping online.
Yeah.
I call them up. They are like, you can't change the shipping. You need to talk to the shipper. And I was like, I am the shipper. So they finally get it fixed, and the lady's like, don't worry, it's going to be back to you tomorrow. And I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I leave for Boston in 2 days. It needs to be back to me by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Doesn't get back to me. In fact, I get all the way back home from Boston, and it finally starts updating, and it says, it'll be there today. It'll be with you today. And I'm like, oh, thank God that didn't show up while I was gone.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried because it's a high value package. I have to sign for it.
Right.
Well, these fuckers got here, and they marked it as failed to deliver. So they still have the package of, $15,000 worth of Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
And I look, why did it fail to arrive? They didn't put my apartment number on there. They had the return address. They didn't put the apartment number on there.
Wow.
So I called them up, and this time it's a real fucking problem getting through to them that I'm the shipper and I need it sent to my apartment.
Right.
So I finally get them to concede and like just put the apartment number in my fucking package. I'm yelling at them like, I don't know how you guys have fucked this up. My apartment number is on the return label.
Yeah.
They deliver it successfully the next day, but they just drop it off.
Oh my God.
They didn't even make me sign
no
for it.
Signature on a $15,000 package.
So I finally get it, and I'm like breathing a sigh of relief because this whole time I'm like, I cannot tell Dalton any of this until
My childhood collection is in limbo.
So I send it USPS. I only insure it for $5,000, and I'm like, I guess that money goes to Dalton if they lose it. And
that's nice.
Just a few days ago, it like finally got scanned in at PSA. Everything's cool, so I can finally tell you the story of the stress that I went through, dude. I was like, I'm gonna lose Dalton's childhood cards. I was so freaked out.
That's wild.
Oh man.
I had a shitty eBay feedback this week, and it was so stupid.
What was it for?
Back in the day, when I started eBay, is because I dumpster dived, and I still had a couple of these old calendars laying around, 2017 sealed calendars that got thrown away. And the reason I kept a couple of them was because they were kind of like well-known artists. One of them was Taylor Swift. Okay, everybody loves T Swift, right?
Like her paintings? What do you mean artist?
No, Taylor.
I know who that is.
It's a calendar that just has pictures of her.
Oh, I probably would have bought that from you.
That's what I'm saying. So, I'm like, whatever, I'll put this out there. Put it for $15, somebody buys it. And then like 2 or 3 days later, the person gives me a bad feedback already. And then they said, because I had 2 of them, and they saw that I had relisted it. And then they said in the bad feedback, person didn't even ship my item out and relisted it on eBay. I don't know what's going on. This guy's not talking to me. I'm like, what is going on right now, dude? Like, you didn't even send me a message, man. You just sent me a bad feedback, and because of you don't even know what's going on. So I'm gonna have to like deal with this guy or call eBay up or something. You know what I mean? Just because this guy doesn't know what's going on. People, I'm not Amazon, all right? Chill out, man.
I had a very similar situation happen where I put something up at auction, and then a few days later I put the exact same product up at auction. Different things, but it was the same thing. I was selling the same thing. And the first one was getting bid up. Finally it ends, and the person who lost the bidding war sent me a message like, fuck you. You delisted it just because it didn't sell for the price you wanted. And I was like, no, it sold. You can verify that it sold on my sold listings.
Yeah.
You just didn't win. And he's like, I can see it relisted. And I was like, that was listed 4 days ago at this point.
You have another shot at it.
Yeah.
Bud.
No, I blocked that guy because he even said, like, we were doing a little back and forth where I was just like pointing out obvious things to him, and he wouldn't concede. And finally he's like, I'm gonna buy something from you and leave you a bad review. He said that. So I was like, blocked. Fuck this guy. Dude. He's a nut job. Obviously there's no getting through to him.
Yeah.
Speaking of art though and cards, this was a long time ago. This was an April podcast that we did, but I had showed off an art contest that I entered, and I had like 3D printed skulls and painted them.
Oh yeah.
Well, the winner was finally announced about a week ago, and it was me.
Hey.
I won. So I won $500 in ETH, which is now worth about 80 cents. I won. The whole contest was for these trading cards that are backed on the blockchain. So you get a physical trading card, and then you get an NFT that is linked to that trading card to verify its authenticity going forward.
Sure.
So the art project that I did was I created one of these trading cards. And the first in the series, I also won a holographic version of that card. I get to help the creator, which is this really big YouTuber, Nerd City. Sick. I get to work with him and create a trading card. So like something that I create will be part of this trading card series.
That's wild. And
he has this other NFT project, which is just like a standard PFP NFT, which is skulls.
Yeah.
He held an event in the Discord where like I came up on stage with him, and like I kind of explained how I made the art, And then he made me a custom one of these NFTs that looks just like me.
Oh.
And it's got like a belt that says art contest winner, which is one of one. Nobody else will have that.
Right.
And then he put a mic in the picture. So it looks like my skeleton's doing a podcast.
Let's go.
And he had me take a picture of this background. I think he's going to make that the background of the NFT. I don't know for sure yet.
Am I back there?
No. I was very specific.
I told him, make sure.
Do not put that guy in my fucking dead avatar.
That's funny. That's awesome. I mean, I saw the shit and it looked great too. I mean, didn't you make a little video or something too, or was it just pictures?
I did a video. That was the whole thing. It was a video.
Yeah. That's what. Okay.
But it's weird because that was the second art contest that I had won in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude. That's because I guess you're a professional artist now.
I've won a contest.
You have a resume.
I've won 2 contests actually. I won the pumpkin carving contest. Got to go to Salem.
Dude, that's sick.
I'm trying to think like what other how do you enter another contest?
Dude, you're on a roll right now. Now you're addicted. You'll never win again. You'll just.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking like there have got to be pumpkin carving contests all over during the month of October, and I'm gonna try to enter every single one next year.
I just come over here. It's like a pumpkin patch in here, dude. Like, what is going on?
It's actually really fucked because I use a Dremel to make it like really nice.
Yeah.
But the Dremel just spins the pumpkin off right into my face. So I've got these goggles on. The rest of my face and my neck is covered in pumpkin. When I was done with that, I went to take a shower. I'd like take off my shirt. There is a perfect orange line, like where my shirt was and where the goggles were.
Man, that's great.
It's fucked up. That's all I had to say this week.
What are we going to talk about? Aaron Carter?
I tried to work that into the podcast, but I could not think of anything funny to say.
Are we going to still keep his video up?
Yes.